to Deep Sleep Stories. Thank you to everyone who's been listening. If these stories help you relax or fall asleep, a short review, comment, or sharing the podcast with someone who might benefit is a simple and meaningful way to support the show so that we may continue to offer it for free. Now, take a slow, gentle breath and let's begin tonight's story.
I am Owen Thorne, and I welcome you to this soft interlude of story and rest. In a moment, you will travel to Mount Olympus, where the snow-laden summit glistens under a star-swept sky. For now, let your shoulders drop, and your breathing slow, releasing tension with each gentle inhale, each calm exhale. Notice the softness in the air around you, imagining it as a tender, silvery hush that invites your body to unwind. As you listen, let this delicate feeling cradle you, guiding your thoughts away from the busyness of the day. Breathe in the peace. Breathe out any heaviness. The tale ahead whispers of ancient gods, serene starlight, and the quiet magic found high above the clouds. Take a moment to settle into comfort, whether you are lying down or reclined. Feel the surface beneath you, supportive and warm. Let your eyelids grow heavy. Let your arms and legs relax. Imagine a small glow in your chest, spreading warmth through your limbs, gently dissolving the remains of the day's concerns. Notice how each breath carries a deeper sense of calm, how it soothes the spaces around your heart and mind. As you sink further into this tranquility, know that you are safe here, carried by the soft lull of these words. Each sentence is meant to guide you into deeper rest. The story will soon unfold in your imagination, yet all you need to do is breathe, relax, and allow the journey to come to you, slowly and gently. High atop the world stood Mount Olympus, its snowy crown touching the night sky. Wispy clouds brushed against the rugged peaks, revealing flickers of starlight. The gentle breeze that wound through the ancient columns at the summit bore whispers of legends long past. In a sheltered hollow, just below the highest spire, a lone traveller arrived as dusk settled, seeking the quiet hush of divine presence. There was an unspoken welcome in the air, almost as if the mountain itself recognized a peaceful soul. The traveller, cloaked in a warm wrap of silvery wool, moved slowly over the pristine snow. Footsteps left the faintest of prints upon that glimmering surface, each indent soon brushed away by drifting powdery flakes. Now and again, the traveller paused to marvel at sculptures carved into the rock, graceful portrayals of gods who once walked these heights. Sparks of moonlight danced off columns and statues, making them glow with a timeless pearly radiance. Far above, the sky shimmered with an endless tapestry of stars. Constellations, once admired by ancient Greeks, now watched over this solitary figure, providing a soft canopy of light. The hush of the wind wrapped around the traveller's ears, its breezes holding quiet echoes of harp music from centuries long gone. Breathing deeply, the traveller sensed that the world was somehow simpler here, purified by the crisp mountain air and the silent guardians of myth. Long ago, Zeus himself was said to have perched on these heights, where thunderclouds gathered at his will. Yet tonight, there were no storms, only a tranquil hush. Snow settled gently across every surface, layering the peaks in a plush blanket of white. Crystalline flakes glistened whenever the moon peeked through a veil of clouds. Everything felt suspended, as though time had momentarily paused to let serenity fill the spaces in between each breath. Stepping further along a narrow path, the traveller came upon a wide plateau, its edges revealing a grand view of the valley below. Twinkling lights from distant villages dotted the darkness like fireflies across a tapestry. Soft breezes carried the faint smell of pine and distant cedar, mingling with the cool scent of fresh fallen snow. From behind a weathered marble pillar, an owl emerged, silent wings gliding in the moonlight before it vanished into the shadows again. The traveller found a sheltered spot beneath a gracefully arched column, remnants of a great temple that once housed sacred gatherings. This broken structure now served as a quiet refuge. The traveller knelt and laid out a small cushion, the material plush against the cold marble floor. Overhead, the sky felt infinite, a backdrop to wandering thoughts. In the stillness, every inhale felt like a soft invitation to let go of earthly cares. Stories say that on quiet nights you might sense the gentle watchfulness of Athena, or hear the faint ringing of Apollo's lyre in the drifting wind. Tonight, however, these gods and their echoes were subtle, like a soft memory left behind in the stones. The traveller relaxed against a pillar, gazing at the starlight shimmering on distant snowdrifts. Even the gentle stirring of the breeze felt like a sacred lullaby, caressing the cool marble in soft, melodic arcs. Far below, a hidden grove of olive trees sighed in the night air. Their leaves rustled in tender waves, each gentle sound carrying the hush of distant legends. Occasionally, a falling star left a pale streak across the heavens. The traveller's eyes followed those gleaming trails, admiring the ephemeral beauty that lit up the darkness for the briefest moment, then faded back into silence. In this place, no thought was rushed, no step hurried. The marble columns were etched with symbols of lightning bolts and eagles, subtle tributes to Zeus's dominion. But where once might have been mighty roars of thunder, the hush of snowfall now ruled. The traveller traced a fingertip over the faded carvings, feeling the delicate grooves in the stone. The touch connected realms of past and present, each breath bridging the stories of antiquity with the gentle heartbeat of the current moment. A subtle glow started to rise behind the mountain silhouette, the silver moon drifting closer to its zenith. This was the hour of deep night, where dreams took shape, and the veil between myth and reality grew thin. The traveller's mind filled with soft wonder, imagining how the gods might have gathered here, ambrosia in hand, starlight dancing on their robes, laughter echoing through the columns. Yet the traveller also sensed that the mountain's greatest gift was its quiet invitation to be still. Beneath an archway half buried in snow, a small pool reflected the moon's gentle light. Icicles hung like fragile chandeliers around the water's edge. Their crystalline tips dripped with shimmering droplets, creating a soft cadence as each droplet met the pool's surface. The traveller knelt beside it, mesmerized by the mirror of moonlight. A gentle breeze brushed across the water, stirring ripples that danced across reflections of a timeless sky. The traveller took a sip of water from a simple flask, letting the cool taste refresh the senses. It was at this tranquil hour that the traveller's eyelids felt heavy yet comforted, as though the hush of the mountain wished to lull every visitor into a peaceful slumber. Shadows of passing clouds slipped across the plateau, fleeting shapes that only accentuated the soft glow of the snow. In the stillness, a faint tinkling sound arose, as if tiny bells were carried on the breeze. Leaning closer to a half-buried altar, the traveller discovered a few scattered offerings, polished stones and dried flowers left behind by those who journeyed here before. Each item held a silent story of hope, gratitude, or reverence for the ancient powers that once ruled this lofty realm. The traveller smiled at these small tokens of devotion, touched by the gentle echoes of human faith. Just then, the clouds parted above, revealing the moon in its full splendour. Its beams illuminated the grand pillars with a soft, pearly radiance. The traveller observed how the columns seemed alive under that glow, each detail carved into them suddenly more vivid. Spirals, leaves, and mythological creatures etched with patient craftsmanship. The light also graced the traveller's cloak, turning its silvery threads into ribbons of moonlight dancing across the wool. Stepping away from the altar, the traveller paused near a low wall carved with images of the eagle, Zeus's sacred messenger. The golden aura that might have once marked these symbols was faded, but under the moon, the carvings held a quiet brilliance all their own. A sense of timelessness pervaded the air, as though the mountain existed between the swift current of modern days and the ancient river of myths. Seeking a new vantage point, the traveller moved gently around the perimeter, discovering a narrow corridor of arches still intact despite centuries of weather. Here, wind whispered through the hollows, creating a faint echo that rose and fell like distant chanting. Softly, the traveller made a bed of rolled blankets on the stone floor, placing a small lantern with a sheltered flame at one corner. The flame's glow merged kindly with the silvery gleam from the sky, layering the surroundings in a comforting radiance. Kneeling down, the traveller watched the flame dance in the breeze. The mild flicker cast shifting shadows along the arches. It was as though the silhouette of each ancient figure might momentarily spring to life. Yet the traveller felt no fear, only a calm acceptance that here, within the realm of the gods, each shadow was but an echo of stories told and retold across countless generations. Deep night enveloped the summit, and the hush grew even more profound. A gentle hum seemed to radiate from the stones themselves, as if they remembered the footsteps of gods who once called this peak home. In that stillness, the traveller's thoughts turned peaceful. Each breath was steady. The heart slowed into a restful rhythm. A soft, comforting ache spread through muscles tired from the climb, relieved now by the mountain's protective calm. To the east, the faint glimmer of dawn was still hours away. Above, the stars seemed to sway in patterns only they understood, forming a luminous web across the vaulted sky. The traveller thought of the old tales, how Pegasus soared among those constellations, how Artemis guided the moon's chariot across the heavens. The hush of the summit allowed such imaginings to settle gently in the mind, almost as if they were as real as the hush of the wind. With the final shift of the breeze, a soft swirl of snow drifted across the plateau. The traveller pulled the cloak closer. Tiny crystals glinted in the lantern light, swirling like stardust at the traveller's feet before drifting off into the dark. It felt as though the mountain was offering its own lullaby, a calm, swirling dance of light and snow, timeless and comforting. Slowly, the traveller lay down atop the folded blankets, gazing upward through the arches, where the sky stretched immeasurably. Thoughts began to blur, lulled by the deep quiet. Every now and then, the traveller caught a subtle melody in the wind, a suggestion of harps or the rustle of ancient garments. Memories flickered, glimpses of Greek heroes, shimmering corridors of marble, the triumphant beating of mighty wings. Yet these images were soothing rather than overwhelming, like long forgotten lullabies returning for a gentle visit. In the hush, it was easy to imagine a soft glow in the center of the traveller's chest, expanding like a warm sphere of tranquility. This glow reached outward to the arches, to the pillars, to the moonlit courtyard, until it seemed to embrace the entire mountaintop. The traveller sensed a kinship with the stones and the sky. They too existed in a serene dance, each an integral part of this lofty realm. For centuries, pilgrims and wanderers had come seeking guidance or solitude, leaving with hearts lightened by the mountain's silent gift of peace. Beneath the arcs of moonlit marble, the traveller's breathing grew gentle, in harmony with the rhythmic hush of the wind. The summit itself seemed to exhale, as if welcoming each visitor with open arms. Over centuries, the grand legends may have waned, yet the spirit of kindness and quiet wonder lingered, woven into every ridge and path. Tonight, that essence enveloped the traveller, cradling body and spirit in an otherworldly stillness. Sometimes, in the swirl of modern life, mortals forget to pause and truly listen. Yet, on this snowy summit, listening became effortless. The faintest creak of ice, the soft crunch of distant footfalls, even the gentle movement of air against a cloak. Each sound arrived as a gift, a nudge to stay present and calm. In that presence, the traveller felt a deep sense of belonging. The traveller's eyes drifted shut for a moment, only to reopen at the whisper of the wind. A gentle voice, carried in the breeze, seemed to say, "Rest here, dear wanderer, for the mountain holds you with care." Perhaps it was merely the mind's interpretation of the soft gust, but the traveller smiled, allowing that reassuring notion to settle warmly in the heart. In that acceptance, peace unfurled like a rose beneath the stars. Across the plateau, the columns stood like silent sentinels. Snow crowned their tops, making them resemble graceful candles in the vast darkness. The traveller watched the gentle flicker of the lantern, its flame unwavering despite the wind, as though shielded by the goodwill of the ancient gods. A profound hush draped over the scene, and every thought of daily life seemed to float away, replaced by the luminous quiet of this sacred height. With each moment, the traveller slipped further into repose. The hush of the summit filled the traveller's mind like soft mist settling over a valley. The traveller's chest rose and fell with unhurried ease, each breath dissolving any lingering tension. The peak itself seemed to watch over this solitary guest. In the calm of that watching, the traveller found an abiding sense of comfort and safety. Thoughts meandered through images of feasts in shimmering halls, cups brimming with nectar, the gentle laughter of immortals drifting under starlit ceilings. Yet these recollections were as soft as drifting clouds, light, feathery, and unintrusive. Every detail arrived as if carried by a warm, comforting breeze, guiding the traveller further into a realm of deep restoration. From the corner of one's vision, an owl glided by again, its graceful wings cutting through the silence without a sound. For a moment, it perched on the broken ledge, tilting its head in quiet observation, before vanishing into the night. The traveller felt a fleeting connection, a subtle understanding that even in solitude, one was never truly alone on Olympus's snowy heights. Nature had its own gentle guardians, ensuring harmony across the stillness. Flurries of snow continued to float through the air in delicate spirals. The wind seemed to slow, as if not to disturb the traveller's calm. In that near silent hush, the stones beneath told tales of ancient footsteps, banquets, and roaring celebrations. Yet these were only distant echoes now. What remained was a lullaby of time, vast, continuous, and ever-present. The traveller breathed in that timelessness, felt it within each beat of the heart. Clouds drifted across the moon once more, dimming the plateau's light. Shadows merged with the snow, creating gentle shapes that swayed across the marble. The traveller, half dreaming, found wonder in each shift of shadow and glow. The hush was so complete, it almost hummed, a soft frequency of stillness that vibrated through the arches, along the ground, and finally settled in the traveller's bones. Another shooting star streaked across the sky, as if a final blessing from the cosmos. The traveller watched it fade into the darkness, letting that fleeting spark guide the mind ever nearer to restful dreams. The hush of the summit grew even deeper, welcoming the traveller's slow descent into slumber. In that quiet lull, each breath was like a whisper through the ancient halls of memory, gently calling for complete release. Softly, the traveller's eyes closed. The lantern's glow flickered one last time, then gently steadied, as if comforting the resting soul. All around, the summit cradled this peaceful moment. The hush settled like a warm blanket, draping the traveler's mind and heart with an invitation to dream. The marble columns stood watch, silent guardians of the night's serenity. In the far distance, dawn lay dormant. The wind carried only the lightest caress, careful not to wake the traveller. The snowy peaks shone faintly beneath a veil of starlight, a timeless realm where worries vanished as quickly as footprints in the drifting snow. The hush remained absolute, a promise of tranquility that lulled thoughts into soft stillness. Slowly, the night itself breathed a gentle sigh, as though approving of this well-deserved rest. No rush, no urgency, only the tender quiet of the mountain and sky. The traveller sank deeper, guided by the softness, each breath an echo of calm. Here, on the summit of Mount Olympus, the peaceful hush was the final lullaby, carrying the weary soul into deep, renewing slumber. And so, at the edge of myth and starlight, the traveller found complete repose. The gentle expanse of Mount Olympus, crowned in eternal snow, offered a night free from worry. Its silent blessing lingered in the air, ready to soothe any mortal who ventured there. May the hush of Zeus's snowy summit carry you too into the soft realm of dreams. Good night, dear traveller. Sleep well,